Welcome back to the Master Your Money podcast with your host, me, Marini Jackson, your guide to mastering credit, building wealth, and creating financial freedom. Let's dive into today's episode. Today, we are going to talk about one of the biggest financial myths people believe, and that is the bill is the bill. No, many of our bills are negotiable and our interest rates are too. Interest rates can be lowered, late fees can be removed, medical bills can be reduced, and payment plans can be customized. And the people who save the most are the most money are the people who are financially more often the people who will ask the one uncomfortable question, and that is, what options do I have available? And I've shared that in some of my prior podcasts. And today we're going to talk about how to negotiate your bills and interest rates using calm, confident, and practical scripts you can use immediately. Why negotiation matters to you financially. Now, a lower interest rate means that you have less money wasted, you're able to pay your debt off faster, you have more financial breathing room, and you lower your financial stress. And here's what people don't realize: a credit card with a 24% interest rate can keep you trapped for years. But reducing that rate to 12 or even 15% can save you hundreds or thousands of dollars. And negotiation is a financial literacy skill. And you don't have to be aggressive to negotiate well. You simply need preparation, confidence, consistency, and calm communication. So, this is the mindset that you need before you make the call. Before we get into any type of scripts, I want you to remember this: the representative on the phone is not your enemy, just like debt collectors, they're not your enemy either. Your goal is to not argue. Your goal is to ask clearly, to stay respectful, to stay persistent, and escalate it if necessary. And most importantly, never apologize for trying to improve your financial situation. So, I've had to do this on several occasions for various reasons. I did this once during the pandemic. I believe I've shared that on a previous podcast, but if not, briefly, I had to basically call my mortgage company and let them know I won't be able to pay my mortgage bill. What are and basically ask what are my options, because this was during the pandemic, and some people got laid off, things of that nature. There was an extremely long wait time, and I literally had to wait. It was either somewhere between 1 or 3 hours on hold, but I just kept the phone on speaker and continued working at home until I can get through to somebody. You have to definitely be, like I said, persistent, because if you get tired after the first 5 minutes, or impatient, I should say, not tired, after the first 5 minutes, then you're not going to get the result that you're looking for. But because of my persistence and patience, I was able to talk with the representative, explain my situation, and they were able to work with me where I didn't have to pay immediately, but I did have a little bit of a buffer of time where they allowed me to pay the entire balance that would be due at that time in the future. So again, these strategies work. So definitely tap in, grab a pen and paper if you need to. So the first script we're going to use, and I'm looking at my notes to the side, so I can make sure I give you everything so you can use these valuable tips and scripts, is for your credit card APR reduction. So the APR is your annual percentage rate, and this is one of the fastest financial wins that's available, especially if you've paid on time, your credit has improved, you've been a long time customer, and you're carrying a balance. So all four of those things, you're carrying a balance, long time customer, pay on time, and your credit's improved. So this is what you can say. Hi, I've been a customer for a while and I've been working hard to improve my financial situation. I wanted to see if there are any options available to reduce my current APR or lower my interest rate. Pause. If you have to, put the phone on mute. Let them respond. And if they say no immediately, don't stop there. So if you're on mute, take yourself off mute, then say, I understand. Are there any hardship programs, promotional rates, loyalty adjustments, or temporary reductions available? If they still say no, you can say, can you check whether I qualify for a supervisor review or an account reevaluation? So this is a pro tip that you can use, especially if you've done the research. You can mention competitor offers. You can also say, I've received balance transfer offers with lower rates elsewhere, but I'd prefer to stay with your company if there's something you can do. So this signals that you are informed, you have options, and you can move your balance. And most companies will often respond differently because they know they can lose your business. Now, I know where I live, there are numerous banks, and I am always getting offers in the mail. Open an account with our company, you'll get free checking, free checks, you'll get this gift, etc. And I've compared, but I know that I also have my banking information for certain payments tied to, whatever companies I'm paying. And in my mind, it's like, oh goodness, this is going to be a hassle of trying to remember everything quickly and change. And I'd rather stay with your company. So yes, most companies, they don't want to lose your business because you've been a loyal customer, and they know that you're going to pay. Uh, so the next script we're going to use is to have late fees removed, and this works surprisingly often, especially if you usually pay on time. If it's your first missed payment and you caught it quickly, this is what you can say. I noticed a late fee was added to my account. I've worked hard to maintain good standing, and this was unusual for me. Would you be willing to waive the fee as a courtesy? This is simple, it's respectful, and it's direct. And if needed, this is something you can add just a little icing on the top. I value being a customer and would really appreciate your assistance. So imagine yourself smiling as you're saying that, and you're not yelling at the representative, you're just saying this. Most companies, they'll reduce the fee immediately. I've done this as well. I've had this happen where I've noticed a late fee and I've been a loyal customer, have paid on time, and I just say, I noticed this fee was there. And they're like, oh, well, Miss Jackson, we'll make sure we take that off for you. Thank you for your business. We thank you for continuing to do business with us. It works. So let's move on to script number 3. And this is for medical bill negotiation. And medical bills, what most people don't know, it's often one of the most negotiable expenses that people ignore. A lot of people, they'll ignore it. They'll have it go to collections and get all these crazy calls, get those medical bills on their credit report and wonder why. And sometimes just that simple communication, it's going to work in your favor with communicating, having these conversations. So hospitals often have hardship programs, discounts, financial assistance, self-pay options or self-pay reductions, and interest-free plans, but most people never ask. Now, I'll tell you about one of my colleagues. We were just having a simple conversation about benefits, and one lady mentioned that she never reaches her deductible ever, her with her medical out of pocket because she chose a high deductible plan, and she had some type of medical procedure where she had to get surgery. And what she did, she contacted the hospital and asked, like, hey, if I paid I don't have this amount, which was whatever they were asking her to pay. She was like, if I give you this amount in full today, will you accept that? And the bill is paid off. Or I'm not sure exactly how she said it, but that's the gist of the matter. Like, if I let's say you have $1,000 medical bill and you have $700, and you may say, I don't have the $1,000, but do you offer any type of discounts? Or you can ask for itemized bill, etc. But let's talk about the questions you can ask. You can, number one, ask for an itemized bill. Can you provide an itemized bill? And this matters because errors happen frequently, and sometimes charges can be corrected or reduced before negotiation even begins. I've had this happen. Um, I was getting calls from one of the local hospitals in my area, the one that's in network for my health insurance plan. And I was told that I had a medical bill due, and I hadn't been to that hospital. I hadn't had anything happen to me. So I asked her the dates of the service, if she had anything itemized, can she give more information? Next call, honestly, I called my credit attorney and told them what happened, told them that I did not have any medical bills, and gave them the number and asked if they can take a look into it as well. One thing you can ask with your hospital bills or your medical bills is you can ask about financial assistance, and this is something people may not do, but you can say, I'm trying to responsibly manage this balance. Are there any financial assistance programs, hardship options, prompt pay discounts, or self-pay discounts available? Then pause and let them explain the options. And as I was mentioning about the colleagues at work, this is something she did. If I self-paid, is there a self-pay discount available? And let them tell you what's available. I know that with one of the local hospitals, they partner with a third party company. The third party company pays the medical bill, and then you have a set time period you're paying that third party company back. So you never know your options unless you ask. You can also, and this is the final thing for those medical bills, you can negotiate the amount if you can't afford the balance. And I know, just with even helping with um, loved ones or giving them some guidance, they're like, I can't pay this $20,000 medical bill or whatever the dollar amount was. I want to resolve this, but I honestly can't afford the current amount. Is there flexibility to settle the bill for a lower amount? So even a 20 to 40% reduction can dramatically help. Another thing you can do, and this is another script, is you can set up a payment plan. Never agree to a payment plan if it's going to destroy your monthly cash flow. So you need something that's going to be sustainable. So what you want to say is, I want to make consistent payments, but I need a payment amount that I can realistically maintain each month. Then give your number first. For example, you can say, right now I can commit to $75 per month consistency, not what do you want me to pay? Because they're going to tell you, we want the whole thing. We want the entire balance of what you do, the amount due. Because when you say, what do you want me to pay, they're leading the negotiation. But by phrasing it and telling them, I can commit to this dollar amount, you are leading the negotiation. And with that, actually, one of the ladies at my church, she is a nurse. She retired, I think maybe a year or two ago. And when my mother had gotten ill some years ago, and she would always ask me, well, how's mom doing? Things like that. And like, even with the medical bill, she was like, because she worked at the hospital, she was like, you tell them, no, I can only afford this amount per month. And she's like, they have no choice but to take it, because you are, committing to paying it. It may take a little longer, but you are paying the bill. So what you're doing when you have a payment plan, it causes, you want to make sure that your payment plan is not causing you to overdraft, to miss your rent, to skip your groceries, or create any new debt. This is something that's not helping you financially. So again, you want to have sustainable progress, because that beats financial burnout. Moving on from our medical bills, our hospital bills, another big thing that we have is utility bills. And depending on where you live in the United States, your bills at certain times of the year may be higher than others, whether it's the extreme weather of cold, freezing sub-zero temperatures, or extremely hot temperatures. It's going to impact your utility bill. Many utility bills, companies, they actually offer extensions, budget billing, a hardship assistance, temporary deferments, but people wait until the disconnection notice arrives. You have to communicate early, so call early. This is what you want to say when you're calling your utility company. I'm experiencing a temporary financial strain, and I'm trying to stay proactive before falling behind. What assistance programs or payment arrangements are available? And the phrase that really matters in this is, I'm trying to stay proactive. Because companies respond better when they see early communication. But if the person is at your door and there to like turn off your water, your electricity, and you're like trying to beg and plead and things of that nature, you've waited too late. This is something you want to remember when you're negotiating. Again, so this is the framework. Be calm, because emotion can hurt negotiation. You want to stay cool as a cucumber. Number 2, be clear. So state the issue directly, don't talk around it. You know what your bill and your bill information is, because once you provide your identifying information and they pull it up on the screen, they see exactly what you're seeing if you have a paper bill in front of you. Number 3, ask open-ended questions. Ask what options are available. Number 4, stay quiet after asking. Put your phone on mute if you need to. Don't talk yourself out of the opportunity. Sometimes some people, they can talk a little too much, and they may have had that opportunity in their hand, and then that bill company, they just don't even give you or extend that opportunity because you kept talking. Number 5, you want to escalate professionally and respectfully. Supervisors often have more flexibility, sometimes in the first person you talk to. I've had to do that with my internet service provider. And I was always, number 1, respectful. I was always clear. I always asked questions and stayed quiet. And what unfortunately has happened with that internet service provider is, number one, they're notorious for increasing their prices. I didn't know that when I first signed up, but since becoming a customer, I've found that out, where I've had to go back to that company and negotiate because my bill would almost double. And when you're someone who is operating on a budget and you have a bill that almost doubles, that can, depending on the amount of that bill, that can potentially, impact your financial structure. So with speaking with those representatives, I state this is what the bill was for the previous X number of months. I noticed the bill is now this amount. Can you give me more information? How can I get the previous rate that I was paying? And sometimes the first person would say, we can't do it. And just being respectful and asking, well, who else will I need to speak with, or may I speak with your supervisor about the options available? Or sometimes they would, you know, connect me directly to the supervisor. And it wasn't disrespectful, but you know, there's a certain level of authority that they have based on their job title. So anything above that would go to the next higher authority. So that was the case for that particular company. But this is what I want you to do for yourself, for your bills. This week, I want you to call one creditor, and I'm going to do that too. I have to resolve something, so we this week are going to call one creditor, ask for one reduction, negotiate one bill, and request one fee removal. One call could save you maybe $35, $300, or even thousands over time. But we never know unless we do it. And one thing that I always say is the answer is always no if you never ask. So that financial confidence is going to grow through action. So the key takeaway is that negotiating your bills is not about begging. It's financial stewardship. And financially healthy people understand this. If you never ask, like I said, the answer is always automatically no. So always, always, always ask, because you never know unless you ask. And sometimes one conversation can create the margin your budget desperately needs. So if this episode has helped you, please let me know in the comments below. Also, please feel free to like this podcast episode, like the podcast series as well. But just let me know in the comments, what one bill are you going to focus on this week, and also what your results are. I am very curious to see what your results are, and I want to celebrate your successes with you. Also, please feel free to share this podcast with any of your friends, family members, loved ones who is ready to take the financial freedom journey with you. Also, if you're ready to take the next step, go to my website, www.virtuefinancialsolutions.org, and there you can find out about my financial coaching programs, upcoming workshops, and resources to help you in your journey to financial freedom. So until next time, remember, we don't just manage our money, we master it.